Trustee Beechner is going to explain the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce Nathan Moctezuma from Foothill High School. He is a member of the Parliamentary Procedure Novice Team, and he will be leading us tonight in the flag salute.
Please stand. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Nathan.
Good job. Roll call, please.
Julie Beechner,
Here.
Joe Marcano,
Here.
Mary Little,
Here.
Jose Gonzalez, Lori Eskew, James Robinson,
Here.
Lori Cisneros.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, can we get adoption of the minutes 1.4, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I forgot I was going to say one thing about the minutes.
Yes.
There was just one spot where it said blank. 4.2.6 says something was moved by trustee Marcano, seconded by trustee blank. And I don't know if we didn't catch who that was that seconded that, or,
I think I needed to go back and review who that was, so I'll correct
Okay.
it. Thank you.
okay, you're welcome. I just happened to check that.
We just wanted anybody to be able to jump on that. So.
I don't remember who it was either. I don't know if I have it in my notes, but yeah.
I hope you never break it down to seconds.
So I'll move to approve the minutes with the correction coming from Merrill.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered with the amended coming. And item 1.5, approval of minutes from May 15th, 2025.
I'm sorry. I thought that's what we were on.
I thought that's what that was.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I was doing the adoption of the agenda. And
Agenda.
So I
So
was-
I reversed that. So first you said the minutes, so I have Julie Beechner and Mr. Robinson, and then for agenda, Julie and Lori.
Okay, we're good. Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect.
And then we do have a time allotted for if anybody would like to speak. Do we have any?
One speaker, Jess Sanders.
Calling to address AB 84. I think the bill was sponsored by maybe Karl Marx.
I can't hear him very well.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
That's better.
Okay. AB 84, a bill that I think was sponsored by Karl Marx, because it seems to want to take your children's schooling from the time that they can't be cared for by their mom right into the state. So I believe we need to not go with this bill because we need opportunities for different children to have different schooling, as you guys preach an awful lot of, but this gives the parent a little more control on what goes on in the classroom with them. Having the flexibility to go to a different school, a school of their choice, and having money follow them, that would actually encourage thinkers instead of robots. So please go against this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for the public to know that we are probably going to discuss that later on during the meeting, and we did send a resolution to the author in opposition of that bill.
Thank you.
And now Trustee Beechner will explain item 3.1.
Okay, thank you. I am pleased tonight to bring to you the Foothill High School FFA Novice Parliamentary Procedure Team, and also their coach, Sierra Hawksworth. She'll introduce them. Again, this is a novice team, so they have been participating in parliamentary procedure, which is officially hosting a meeting and following the Roberts Rules of Order, which are so important in board meetings like this. So I'm extremely proud of them. Mostly proud of their coach as well, because she was a former student of mine at Frontier High School and on the parliamentary procedure team as well. So thank you for coming, and we are excited to see your presentation.
Thank you so much for having us. Being a teacher, my voice projects, so microphones are not my friend. But we are super excited to be here. I have some people with me that I wouldn't be where I am today if they weren't here to support me and the kids. And so there are some people I'd like to introduce in the room before I explain what we're doing. My teaching partner, Vernon Clark. He is our department head. He makes all of the magic happen behind the scenes. Mr. Clay Freeman, he's a big reason why I got hired at Foothill High School. He's also our ag coordinator for the district. And then none other than Sydney Peterson. She is currently serving as our principal at Foothill, and she has been a blessing. So we're super excited that they're here to support us. So these 6 individuals that we have here today, I'm going to introduce them as they go to their seats. So our chairman who runs our meeting is Arissa Macias. She was actually high chairman in the state this year for the Novice Parliamentary Procedure Team. Chair 1 is Sarah Almazan. She has done a phenomenal job this year, stepping up as a freshman because everybody else was a sophomore this year. Chair 2 is Jasmine Umanzor. She's been amazing. Chair 3 is Jonathan Lopez. Chair 4 is Nathan Moctezuma. And Chair 5 is Brian Barriga. These kids have worked super hard, and they've had to compete at multiple levels. And so to get started, they actually get a minute. So you have a minute. In this time frame for this competition, the card that they have in their hand, right, they have never seen before, hypothetically speaking, right? There is a motion on the floor that they have to discuss logically as if it was something that is pertaining to actual business at hand for their chapter. Along with that, there are 5 motions that are required on the card for them to actually have to move, whether that's amending a motion, right, referring it to a committee, putting it off to their next regularly scheduled meeting, and they have to logically debate that and understand the rules that apply to each motion, and they have to do all of that. So they have to move 10 motions, right, or 5 motions, and they have to debate 10 times in a round. No, I had that backwards, right? No, I was right. 10 motions.
5 debates.
And each student debates 4 times, right, in 11 minutes, logically. And they will be scored on debates, how they do, and what that round looks like. So these students have competed at the section, region, and state level, and they have to move out each time. And so we're super proud of them, and they are officially an advanced team now, and they get to go play with the big boys. So, are you ready?
Nice.
Yeah. Time.
Is there any business to come before the chapter at this time?
Madam President,
Sarah.
I move that our chapter celebrates Ag Teachers with an Appreciation Day.
Second. It has been moved and second that our chapter celebrates Ag Teachers with an Appreciation Day. Is there any debate?
Madam President.
Sarah.
This is a wonderful idea. Ag teachers' jobs is a little more different compared to the average teacher. They have to fulfill the 3-ring model of Ag education, SAE, classroom, and FFA. This is not an easy thing to do, so I don't see why we wouldn't give them an Appreciation Day. Please vote yes.
Madam President. Jasmine.
Madam President, I think this is a great idea. Knowing from experiences, my Ag teachers have helped me so much. This year, I was pushed into a public speaking contest, and it really helped me change and grow as a person. Now I feel much more confident, and I feel like I couldn't have been here today without the help of my Ag teachers. Please vote yes.
Debate.
Madam President.
Brian.
I refer this motion. I have an SCE project called TRJ Genetics, where Ms. Hawker, my Ag teacher, teaches me and a few other students how to breed and raise pigs for the new students to show for the Kern County Fair. And I feel Ms. Hawker really deserves a creation. Please vote yes.
Madam President. Jonathan.
Madam President, our agriculture education teachers work so hard to run 2 different CTE classes, with that being our woodshop class and our mechanics class. From personal experience, I learned how to weld on a plate and how to work properly with lumber. I think they cannot go unnoticed without their hard work. Please vote yes.
Madam President.
Nathan.
Thank you, Madam President. Although this sounds like an amazing idea, I have to be against it. From day 1 in this program, I've been taught intrinsic motivation, and which is where we don't study or practice for the plaques and awards, as well as our teachers don't teach and coach for appreciation days like this. I just feel like this would go unnoticed, and we would just be wasting resources. Please vote no, Madam President.
Debate.
Madam President,
Nathan.
I move to postpone this matter indefinitely.
Second has been moved and seconded to postpone this matter indefinitely. Is there any debate?
Madam
President.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to postpone this matter indefinitely and kill this motion because although this sounds like a good idea appreciating our teachers, this main motion is just too vague. There's so much questions like when are we having this appreciation day and how? Are we going to send our teachers on a 4-day cruise? Or just have every student have 5 of them. This is something that needs to be answered if this motion is going to be moved. Please vote no. Please vote yes, Madam President.
Madam President,
Sarah.
this is a horrible idea. Why would we kill such a great motion like this? This past year, I had the opportunity to attend a career development event called Best Informed Greenhand, where me and 5 other freshmen were able to go compete in college campuses all over California. This wouldn't have been possible without my ag advisor, Mr. Clark. Why should his work go unappreciated? Please vote no.
Debate. Seeing none, we shall proceed to vote. All those in favor of postponing this matter indefinitely, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it. We will not postpone this matter indefinitely. We will now reopen debate on the main motion. Is there any debate?
Madam President,
Sarah.
I move to limit debate so that all debate ends in 9 minutes.
It has been moved and seconded to limit debate so that all debate ends in 9 minutes. This is a non-debatable but amendable motion. Are there any amendments? Seeing none, we shall proceed to vote. All those in favor of limiting debate so that all debate ends in 9 minutes, please say aye.
Point of order, Madam President.
State your point.
It's a 2/3 vote, so it should be a rising vote.
Point now, I'll take it.
I appeal to the decision of the chair.
The decision of the chair has been appealed to. The chair feels with the small assembly, they can determine a 2/3 vote from a voice vote. All those in favor of upholding the decision of the chair, please say aye. All those opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, and the decision of the chair is not upheld. We shall proceed with the rising vote. All those in favor of limiting debate so that all debate ends in 9 minutes, please rise. Thank you, be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Thank you, be seated. With 1 in favor and 4 against, the debate fails. We will now reopen debate on the main motion. Is there any debate?
Madam President,
Jonathan.
I move to amend this motion by adding on to the end during National FFA Week.
It has been moved and seconded to amend this motion by adding on during National FFA Week. So if passed, the motion would read, I move that our chapter celebrates Ag Teachers with an Appreciation Day during National FFA Week. Is there any debate?
Madam President,
Jonathan.
Madam President, National FFA Week is a week dedicated to just advocating and showing off what agriculture education is. And we could for sure fit in a spot to appreciate our teachers for what they do and the hard work that goes unnoticed. Please vote yes.
Madam President,
Sarah.
although I see the great intention of this motion, this is a horrible idea. During National FFA Week, our chapter hosts booths during lunch every single day of the week. This is not an easy thing to do, so I feel like this would just be putting more work on our teachers' plates, and this is not a good idea. Please vote no.
Madam President.
Jasmine.
Madam President, unfortunately, during FFA Week, our advisors might be out for SLE, and that's a whole other leadership experiences that they will have to go out into the city for and won't be able to attend their own appreciation day. I think this is a bad idea. Please vote no.
Madam President.
Nathan.
Thank you, Madam President. I honestly think this is a terrible add-on. National FFA Week keeps our campus so busy, and we already have an appreciation day for teachers at the end of the week where we host a ranch breakfast and give omelets to every teacher on campus, including our ag teachers. I feel like if we just add this, we're just doing too much, and it's a horrible idea. Please vote no, Madam President.
Madam President.
Ryan.
I'd like to be against the motion for the reason that our ag teachers are going to be so busy making sure that National FFA Week runs smoothly. So please vote no.
Debate. Seeing none, we shall proceed to vote. All those in favor of amending this motion by adding on during National FFA Week, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No. Division.
Division has been called for. We shall take a more accurate account. All those in favor of adding on during National FFA Week, please rise. Thank you, be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Thank you, be seated. With 1 in favor and 4 against, the amendment fails. We will now reopen debate on the main motion. Is there any debate?
Madam President,
Jasmine.
I move to refer this motion to our executive committee with full power to act.
It has been moved and seconded to refer this to our executive committee with full power to act. Is there any debate?
Madam President.
Jasmine.
Madam President, I think our executive committee is a perfect committee to send it to. Our executive committee is made up of our chapter officers, which lead our entire chapter. And Full Power to Act gives them enough money to spend enough money to do anything, and they don't have to report back or have any dates that they need to worry about. Please vote yes.
Madam President,
Sarah.
although I'm for referring this is the wrong committee to give this to. I don't see why we don't give this to our Building Communities Committee. This is the whole purpose of the committee, to help strengthen our chapter, and this motion is perfect for them. Please vote no.
Madam President.
Nathan.
Thank you, you, Madam President. Although I don't believe this main motion is the best idea, I think if we refer this, we'd be able to answer the questions I had recently, like when or where we're going to have this appreciation day. Please, I'll vote this refer.
Madam President.
Jonathan.
Madam President, we constantly rely on our executive committee too much, which consists of our chapter officers. Through the FFA, we want to make sure every student has the opportunity to be a leader, and we should dedicate this to another group of students who is ready to take on this task. Please vote no.
Madam President.
Brian.
I'd like to get this motion. Full power to ag is just way too much power. Our executive committee can spend as much money as they want, and can spend as much time as they want, and that's just too much power. Please vote no.
Debate. Seeing none, we shall proceed to vote. All those in favor of referring this matter to our executive committee with full power to act, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, and we will not refer this matter. We will now reopen debate on the main motion. Is there any debate?
Madam President.
Brian.
I move to postpone this matter to our next regular scheduled meeting.
It has been moved and seconded to postpone this matter to our next regularly scheduled meeting. Is there any debate?
Madam President.
Brian.
I am for this motion. I feel like there's many great questions asked throughout this meeting that I feel like we need more time to answer all those questions. So please vote yes.
Madam President.
Jasmine.
Madam President, we shouldn't put this off any longer. If we put this off and we put it on other agendas, it'll just keep getting pushed down by more important things that we need to cover. So this will end up being unnoticed as the months go by, and this will never get done. Please vote no.
Madam President.
Jonathan.
Madam President, I don't think it's a good idea to postpone this matter. You see, we have a whole upcoming school year that we need to plan for our FFA program and our program of activities. Therefore, we should not postpone this matter, as we need to decide this now if we want to fit it into our yearly schedule. Please vote no.
Madam President.
Brian.
I move previous question.
The previous question has been called for. We shall take a more. Oh, hold on. Previous question has been called for. This is a non-debatable, non-amendable motion. We shall proceed to vote. All those in favor of moving previous question, please say aye. Please rise. Thank you. Be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Thank you. Be seated. With 5 in favor and 0 against, previous question passes. All those in favor of postponing this matter to our next regularly scheduled meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it. We will not postpone this matter. We will now reopen debate on the main motion. Is there any debate? Debate. Seeing none, we shall proceed to vote. All those in favor that our chapter celebrate ACT teachers with an appreciation day, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The ayes have it, and our chapter will celebrate ACT teachers with an appreciation day. Is there any further business? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.
Whoa. So I do want to clarify that none of that is memorized. They don't know what motion they have on their card, and so they have a main motion, and then they have the additional motions that they have to move. So they have to think about a lot of different things when they read that motion, and it really is just like a meeting. You know, a motion is on your agenda, and it is to your board or your group to discuss it and discuss it officially. So great job, you guys. Just really, really super proud of you, and congratulations on your state win. Yeah?
Any comments from the board?
Yeah, it's kind of like listening to 6 Emily Campanos up there. I mean, just dig. Now, is this how you normally conduct meetings at this pace?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
For the contest, yes. Their chapter meetings are pretty quick and efficient as well. So, of the 6 students you see up here, the 5 in seats are going to serve as chapter officers this year. Your chairman served last year as a chapter officer. And their business portion of their meeting is pretty much done in about 30 minutes, give or take. Approval of minutes, approval of treasurer's report. They open the floor for any business. They review items that we've done throughout the month between our meetings. For the contest, it's this rapid pace. For their chapter meetings, it slows down a little bit.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Thank you. Great job.
Trustee Cisneros, do you have any comments?
Oh, I just love it. You guys did amazing, and I know, when is your state competition happening? Or is that happening yet?
So they already had state. They were third in state.
Third in state, that's right, okay.
They move on now to become advanced team members. Because once you
Awesome.
can, they were novice, so this was their very first year.
I'm so impressed at all of you, really. Very professional and very clear in your speaking and with your eye contact and everything. So nice job. You're welcome.
Trustee Mercano?
Can we adopt their pace?
Right? I can speed things up.
I second that motion.
I coached that contest. I call for the question.
Well, just to reiterate, you were brilliant. It was outstanding. Great Oracle skills. I wish I had those things. I'm very impressed, and I look forward to seeing you on a board someday. So good luck to you all. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 3.2, it's our presentation, COE Annual Summary Report.
Well, that is very tough to follow that.
Ready to go.
Would you just state your name for the record?
Sure,
Thank
of
you.
course. Good evening. My name is Kimberly Graham, Assistant Superintendent of Local, Regional, and Statewide Systems of Support. Can you hear me okay? Is that okay? Okay. This evening, I'll be presenting the plan to support our county office ALT-ED programs, as well as our plan to support the 46 school districts and 5 charters within Kern County. I'll be reviewing the 3 goals that you see on the slide. These goals include providing support around LCAP development, also with technical assistance, and then with continuous improvement. This report is submitted to the California Department of Education along with the county LCAP. So the first goal is to review and approve all LCAPs. There are 3 objectives in this area. The first one is provide districts and charters with the knowledge and skills to create, adopt, and submit an approvable LCAP that aligns with budget and all other district and school plans. Second objective is to provide technical assistance to all districts and charters from the assigned county office management analyst and also fiscal analyst prior to board adoption. Also to approve all LCAPs, including all fiscal components, no later than September 15th. So is what this looks like, just a couple of examples. That would be providing LCAP professional learning and development to all of our districts and charters, and providing individualized support from our management analysts and also our fiscal analyst, also with our SELPA teams and also our KIDS team, the Kern Integrated Data Systems team. Another example is to provide individual supports that are based on the needs of each of our districts. Also reviewing all the board-approved LCAPs and working with the district leaders to make sure all LCAPs are approvable by the county superintendent. We also send clarification and approval letters to all districts, and then we post all LCAPs on the county office website. The second goal is to utilize the cycle of continuous improvement to provide technical assistance to charter schools and districts based on need. So this includes districts that are identified as needing assistance, and then sometimes we also have districts or charters that voluntarily would like support in this area. The objective for this is to customize and provide technical differentiated assistance support, again, based on the needs and context of the district or charter. A few examples of what this looks like would be, we conduct a data analysis to identify the district and charters areas of strength and also some areas of growth. We also have our staff facilitate a systems-wide needs assessment, which again outlines those areas of strength within the system and again areas of growth. We also assist districts in identifying an action plan, and we utilize improvement and implementation science tools to support the district in implementing that plan. And then we also support districts in aligning their improvement efforts with their LCAP.
Can you go back for a second?
Sure.
Are there any districts that do not get approved for the LCAP?
We have not had one district not approved for an LCAP.
In the history or ever, or do you know?
Since my time, I don't know since before then.
Dr. Mendeborough has something to say on that.
We've had several districts that are on the cusp of non-approval, but they make the corrections that are necessary, and they take it back to their board for August. Is that usually when they?
August 15th.
And August 15th, and then they'll make the corrections, and then the LCAP is approvable. But since the implementation of LCAP, we have never denied an LCAP after the August 15th date.
All right, thank you for that clarification.
Okay, goal 2. So there may also be districts or a county office that are eligible for what's called direct technical assistance. I've listed the criteria on the slide for being eligible for what we call DTA. This objective is similar. It's also to determine a customized plan to support the district. So for DTA, an example of what this looks like, it includes engaging in a collaborative process alongside CCEE and also the district. So we take a look at together the district's current improvement plan, their efforts, and we also look at the effectiveness of their implementation. And then we collectively determine a plan moving forward to support the district. And then the last goal, goal 3, is to provide support for continuous improvement to all districts. So there are 3 objectives in this goal, and that is around providing professional learning. So refining and aligning professional learning offerings to districts that meets the needs around academic, behavioral, and social emotional student outcomes. We also provide opportunities for school and district leaders to network and to also learn together. We also provide district leaders with opportunities to understand and apply the continuous improvement framework and tools. Some specific examples around that would be to, again, looking at data with the district. So it could be formative data to determine their needs and, again, measure that effectiveness of their current programs. We also utilize the current integrated data system to look at those outcomes. We also help to support and develop professional learning that's designed to equip district and site leadership to build a welcoming and inclusive environment for all students. Okay, are there any questions that I might answer regarding the goals? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kimberly. Is that the end of the presentation, Dr. Mendeborough? Okay. So we do not have to take any action on that, it's just for presentation. So we're back on information item, action item 4.0, and it's the consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Who did we get? Did we get a second, Merle? Okay. All
Quite a
those.
list. I like it.
Yes. that'll be-
List.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. So ordered, thank you. And 4.2, general business, consideration of approval for the MOU between the Kern County Board of Education and the wonderful College Prep Academy, and Dr. Mendeborough will explain that.
And so when the wonderful College Prep Academy came up for their renewal, they have an MOU that was entered between them and the office. And so the Board of Trustees needs to approve the MOU. It meets all the criteria that is within the renewal process, and the MOU has been vetted by staff, and they're good to go.
Can you also explain the kind of the transition for wonderful?
Well, that's grow.
I'm sorry, never mind. All the, we can do that later. We get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? So ordered, thank you. I meant any opposed. Did I say that? Okay, so ordered, thank you.
I do have a question in the context of AB 84. Should I wait until we're talking about that with regards to this?
Yeah, I'm going to have it under my report. I have an update on that.
Great.
Item 4.24, approval to adopt a K2 assessment for risk of reading difficulties.
4.22.
Did I miss one? Oh my gosh.
You missed a couple, I think.
I did. Keep me on track tonight. I'm crazy. 4.22, approval of the 2025 to 26 LCAP budget overview for parents and the 25-26 local accountability plan.
Good evening.
Thank you, Desiree.
You're welcome. I will help.
Thank you.
We had a discussion last month in regards to the LCAP. We had our public hearing, and tonight you have the opportunity to ask any final questions, and I recommend approval of our LCAP.
Any questions or comments from the board? Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I want to take the opportunity to introduce you to the person who does the bulk of the work behind that document, and that's Molly Mears. She's one of our directors of the Alternative Education Program.
Thank you, Molly, for your work. And do we have any opposed on that motion? So ordered, thank you. Now we are on 4.23, approval of the 24-25 local indicator data.
Correct.
Again, we have Desiree Von Ploeg.
Last month, we discussed the difficulties that we have getting a fair assessment of our students' performance and of our growth that is being accomplished through our court and community schools because of the set guidelines and metrics that they use to assess those programs. As part of the dashboard process with the state, we have the opportunity to submit local indicators. The state has access to all of our annual assessments. They have access to attendance records and the like, graduation rates. But when it comes to our local assessments and the things that we're doing uniquely within our program that are not measured by a statewide metric, they allow us to define local indicators. And so this evening on the document, you see that we are using the same priorities that we've discussed with the LCAP, and we are stating our level of accomplishment with each of those priority goals, which have all been met. And so if you have any questions, I'm happy to address those, but I recommend that you receive this information this evening. Is it an action? And that it be approved.
I have a quick question about what the self-reflection tool, what was that tool again?
So the state provides that self-reflection tool. Some of it is answering prompts, some of it is scoring yourself from 1 to 5 with that rubric that's on there. So that's just the self-reflection tool, is that you take a look at that and you figure out how to score yourself. And then that information, once it gets approved here, there is a portal that I upload all that information to, and then that will be included when the dashboard is released later this year.
And that's for students to self-reflect, or?
For staff to reflect,
Okay,
yeah,
that
on
makes
the
sense.
program,
Okay.
like looking at our survey data, looking at our
Okay.
parent engagement, that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Makes sense.
And is that mandatory?
Yes.
Thank you. Did we have a motion on the floor?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Any opposed? So ordered, thank you. And Which one are we on? 4.23?
See 4.24.
4.24.
I thought we did that one. Yeah, we're
The risk of reading difficulties.
we're on 4.24. Approval to adopt K-2 assessment for risk of reading difficulties.
This is a new requirement in the state of California. They have elected to have all LEAs submit what assessment they will be using to identify dyslexia in kindergarten through second grade students. It is a requirement for our alternative education program. However, we rarely have kindergarten through second grade students referred to our ALTED program. Should we ever have that scenario arise, we will be recommending tonight that we adopt AMIRA, which is the same dyslexia assessment that will be used by Valley Oaks. And so because we do have staff supporting both of these programs, they would be able to accommodate those student needs if we had a youngster of that age enroll in the program.
Thank you.
So I recommend that tonight you adopt AMIRA as your assessment for risk of reading difficulties.
A question, if I may. Why just K through 2? Why not in some of the later grades, like, up to 6th grade, to diagnose the potential?
Foundationally, the concept is students are learning to read between kindergarten and second grade. Beyond that, they are reading to learn. So we hope that the fundamentals of their reading strategies and their developing skills for decoding have been developed by the second grade. If not, there should have been an indicator that that's a particular student were not on pace.
So historically, there haven't been any children who have proven to be dyslexic going past the second grade?
Oh, no, it's just that if they are diagnosed early on, then modifications and accommodations can be made for those students in regards to how the instruction is presented to them somewhere between 5 and 7 years old. Now, if a student is discovered to be dyslexic after that second grade assessment, it might be something that was done through another process, but this is going to be a mandated assessment that we do, just like we have a vision requirement for all first grade students. We have a hearing assessment that's required for all students in a particular grade. They're going to give this assessment to all students, kindergarten through second, as a pre-defining diagnosis of an issue that should be looked into further.
Thank you.
Students that are in older grades and have concerns are assessed in other means. This is a screening for all students to indicate, to see if there's any indication early on. But if they're third grade and they're having troubles, there's other tests that are utilized to determine dyslexia.
Okay, thank you.
My question was what you said earlier. If this does happen, there is a K-2 student, does the Valley Oaks staff step in and help with that assessment? Is that what you were saying?
Currently, we have an assessment team that is serving both Valley Oaks and our
Okay.
ALTED program.
Okay.
And so that group would be trained in this and ready to accommodate any assessment needs for either program.
Okay.
And of
Thank you.
course, kindergarten through second is a very populated grade level at Valley Oaks, and so we'll be doing the full gamut of kindergarten through second grade enrolled students.
So it is for the charter school as well, then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought you had said it was only for the Court and Community Schools?
You're adopting tonight for Court and Community
Okay.
because that's where the board presides, is with our alternative education program.
But all public schools do this?
Correct. All
Okay.
your school districts in Kern County should be making an adoption this month for next year.
And they'll make their own adoptions?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
You did mention one thing about the learning and then learning to learn at the third grade level. I thought it was third grade and up, so.
Well, we're very serious now with our primary students, so
Okay.
those expectations have grown a little bit. They do the goal is to have students fluently reading by the end of second grade.
Okay, so it's changed. Okay, thank you for that clarification, because it didn't used to be that way.
K3 was the way it used to be pronounced, and now it's K2.
It's K2. All right, thank you. I didn't know that. Any other discussions?
So this is a new assessment that's happening next year across the board?
Correct.
Okay, this is good. This is a good thing.
We've been doing a lot of work around dyslexia and young students.
And they'll develop an IEP as well in conjunction with that?
It would all be determined as to whether or not the student were a significant time frame behind the expected level. Not always. It just might be a stint of intervention, reading intervention, that student would enter into.
Okay. But they would offer that to the parent. So when they're assessed, do they tell the parent the results?
I'm sure that they will. I'm not sure when that would be shared. It would probably be district by district, whether they do it at parent-teacher conferences in the fall or when they're conducting this assessment, but
Okay,
it would be information available to parents, yes.
thank you. Any other discussion? Questions? Do we get a motion on the floor, please?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion further? Any opposition? Seeing none, so ordered. Approval of the court and community schools plans for the student achievement annual evaluations, item 4.25.
So this one item will cover a plan for both community schools and a separate plan for court schools. So if our minutes could reflect that this one item covers both documents. And as you can see, the goals of these two documents reflect the goal that we work on in LCAP, and that first area addresses social and emotional development. And then our second goal addresses the instruction of technology and the support of our CTE programs, and I recommend approval of both of these.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion?
I have a question about the survey. Was that for students, correct?
We survey staff, and then
Okay.
we survey students, and we survey parents and our community partners.
That's good that you survey staff, because they're the only consistent ones. So that is good. And that's included altogether in the percentages that are represented here?
Yes.
It should spell out there, I believe all of them are just the students. It'll say percentage
Okay.
of court school students, percentage of community school students.
Molly, is that survey come pre-written, or do we develop our own?
We
survey?
develop our own. We use basically the same template each year, and each year we kind of learn from things we wish we had done the previous year and tweak it just a little bit. But it's our own survey asking questions that we know we have to answer to, like school climate and safety and that sort of thing, but it's our own survey.
Thank you. Is that available for the public to see, that survey?
It's not like posted publicly, but we can get you the data if you would like that.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Okay.
Thank you.
For all, just students in particular, or all stakeholders?
If it's not too cumbersome, I'd like to see all stakeholders.
Sure.
Thank you. You could probably just email it to us. That'd be acceptable if that's, okay, thank you. Did we make a motion on that yet?
We did.
Okay, thank you. And then we're on adoption of the 2025 County School Service Fund.
Thank you.
Thank you. John's coming up here.
Good evening, Board. Last month's board meeting, we did go into detail and reviewed the presentation of the 25-26 proposed budget. So I'm open it up to any questions that you might have now that you've had a chance to look at it.
You're more optimistic than I would want to be.
Takes a lot of hard planning. I mean, it's those tough conversations with each and every department to make sure that we have not only our operating plan, but our backup plan. So that's how we can come so positive.
I'll move to approve.
I'll
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Any opposition? So ordered. Thank you. I know that's kind of taxing work, and I appreciate it because I could not do my numbers.
And thanks for distilling that down to a few pages for us to review again.
Anytime. Do you want to open up the next item?
Are you going to be presenting that as well?
No, no, you have it in your packets, but we can go through anything if you'd like.
The next item is item 4.27, resolution approval of the established education protection account.
Correct. So back in 2012, voters approved Proposition 30, which established the Education Protection Account. And through that legislation, we're now required to outline the expenditures that we're using for those Education Protection Account funds. And so for this year, what we have is we're projected to receive $111,356. And those are all going to be spent on alternative education teacher salaries, so which aligns with the intent of those funds. And that's what is outlined in the resolution and just is before you for approval.
Any questions on that? Comments from the board? Motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any further discussion? Any opposition? So ordered. Thank you. Thank you for all the presentations from the superintendents.
No kidding. Wish I could say see you guys next year.
Okay, we're on item 5.1. That's members of the board will report on anything you have. Trustee Mercado.
Nothing from my area, thank you.
Trustee Beechner.
I attended Valley Oaks graduation, and always very uplifting, and just really an honor to watch each of those students cross the stage and know that they have certainly climbed a mountain, I'm sure, that they saw in front of them, and some very moving speakers. They had two students that gave a graduation speech that I'm a crier, and they just were rolling down my face. So it was very, very moving and touching. So I'm really glad to be a part of that. So
Thank you. And thank you for inviting the team that came tonight. That was outstanding.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And who wants to go first? Trustee Robinson?
On the education front, I'm kind of taking a little bit different tack on this. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been involved with a focus group on energy in another organization that I'm involved with, and I got to examining Area 6, and we have a lot of oil production, a lot of energy production in that particular area. And I haven't had a chance to go ahead and dig down into the numbers of how many of the local technical schools actually deal with energy. I mean, it's something that's going to be in our future no matter what. So what I'm thinking about right here is I was wondering if anybody knows, I don't believe that Cal State Bakersfield has a petroleum engineering department, do they? They don't have a lab or anything like that?
Not that I know of specifically. Mm-mm.
Well, as I'm looking in the southern part of Kern County, there's a whole lot of oil production down there, a whole lot of regulations and ordinances that are restricting oil production down there. And I'm not trying to make this a hill I'm going to die on as a member of the school board, but I would like to point out that I believe there's an opportunity for future education opportunities. I mean, for other for future education opportunities along, the tech end here. This is STEM technology. It's some high-end stuff, and it's very, very much a part of the county. And it does seem to fall under the purview of the alternative and trade schools. So I just wanted to go ahead and point out that I'm going to continue to work with the other organization that I'm with, and I'm going to see if I can put together some figures that might be of interest to the board here and to the Kern County Superintendent of Schools. Other than that, I don't know, it's been hotter than blazes here lately in Area 6. I can't speak to the other areas, but it's been hot. So, and forecast for this evening, dark. So we'll just go ahead and leave it at that.
Thank you. Trustee Cisneros?
I also had the pleasure of attending the Alt Ed graduation, and I agree, it was very moving to see these students overcome their obstacles and make it to that day, and to see their families and friends and staff that was there supporting them. And I was honored to be able to speak at that graduation as well. It was really moving. So I am really proud of all those students that decided to change their trajectory in life at that time and pursue completion of their tasks. So I wanted to say that. I also was able to attend the Valley Oaks Charter School High School graduation. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Anaí Valencia graduated that night or that morning at the Alt Ed graduation, so it was neat to see her. And and I got to actually hand out the diplomas and shake their hands and tell each student, I'm proud of you, you made it, you did it. So, and then at the Valley Oaks High School graduation, that was also moving and special. And I got to see our other former student trustee, Violeta Morales. She graduated. Yeah, so that was neat to see her with her family and celebrate her and the other students that graduated from Valley Oaks. So it's such an exciting time of year to see students make it to that point and to reflect back on their journey and to look forward at the journey ahead. So what else? Let's see. A couple things happening across the nation. Senator Steve Toth in Texas was able to amend SB 12, which addresses the social transitioning of students in public schools, and that actually passed. So in Texas, it is now illegal to socially transition a child in school. So just to fill you in on that. And then on June 2nd, the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division issued a letter declaring CIF, which is the California Interscholastic Federation Bylaw 300D, unconstitutional. And that bylaw forced schools to allow biological males to compete in girls' sports and access private spaces. But the DOJ made it clear this policy would deprive girls of athletic opportunities and benefits based solely on their biological sex. So districts are now legally liable if they implement this bylaw because it is unconstitutional. Districts had until yesterday to certify that they will not enforce the bylaw 300D, or else they will face consequences. And I know our direct jurisdiction is over our Alt Ed students where they don't have organized sports or CIF programs. But I just thought, as a county board, this would be important to just let the public know and the board know what's going on. Let's see, Atascadero Unified School District made a public statement in support of the DOJ's letter opposing CIF bylaw 300D. And Sonia Shaw, the president of Chino Valley Unified School District, made a public statement as well, and she brought a resolution to the board about Title IX, and it passed at her district. So I'll just read this to you. I'm bringing this to you to keep us informed of what's going on, especially in the state of California. I know I mentioned other states too, because I feel like things are gonna come closer to California. We live in a very unique state. But as a county board, I feel like this is a good thing to be aware of for each other. So the intent of Title IX has always been to provide equal opportunities for girls and women, protecting them from discrimination and ensuring fairness in education and athletics. On January 20th, 2025, the President of the United States issued an executive order titled Defending Women from Gender Ideology, Extremism, and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government. And it was directing all federal agencies to recognize sex as an immutable biological reality and rejecting policies that replace sex with subjective self-identification. And whereas the U.S. Department of Education has declared June as Title IX month, highlighting the importance of protecting women's and girls' rights and returning to the original intent of Title IX. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Chino Valley officially recognizes June as Title IX month. Be it further resolved that the district rejects the insertion of gender identity ideology into Title IX interpretations that undermine the rights, opportunities, privacy, and safety of biological girls. Be it further resolved that this district supports and aligns with the federal executive order restoring biological truth to education and will review its own policies, programs, and facilities to ensure consistency with these legal and scientific standards. Be it finally resolved that Chino Valley remains committed to defending parental rights, student safety, and the integrity of girls' education and sports, and will continue to lead boldly in rejecting political and ideological agendas that place children at risk. And that was on June 5th, 2025. So just to inform you, Chino Valley has taken the lead on a lot of these issues, just so that we're aware of what's happening in the state of California. And I also want to say one more thing about the political climate right now. I know it's a bit intense. I kept thinking, what adjective can I use to describe the climate right now? It's intense. Our president is changing several policies and laws, even the interpretation of the United States Constitution back to its original intent. These changes will affect our state, our county, and local schools. He is bringing us back to the fundamental truths that our country was originally established on. As you know, our governor has opposite views than our president. These issues that I'm bringing up to this board are simply to inform you of the facts. I believe it's important for us to pay attention to the laws that affect all students in California, and the fact that we will eventually, as a board, need to take a clear stand on what we believe is best for our students in Kern County. It is vital that we stay informed about what other counties are doing and how we will respond. And I am thankful and counting on Dr. Mindeborough, the KCSOS staff, and legal counsel, as they are required by law to comply with these changes to help us navigate through this process. So I just put my thoughts down and thought I'd read it to you. That's where I stand on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Sindiles. Can we get an update if Julie did get elected to the CCBE board? She has not heard.
We haven't heard either.
Is there,
Dun, 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 dun.
we should have heard by now.
No, we haven't heard any.
Okay, we'll double check on that so we get her plugged in if she's are going to be our representative. I would love to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might have missed a meeting already.
And then we did talk about our two previous wonderful student representatives. Do you know when we're going to have a new one?
Our next one will start in August, one aligning with the school year. And so we're working with Valley Oaks to select a new one.
Oh, thank you. And the term limit on those students representative, what is that?
They're 5 months, so it'll be August through December and then January through May.
Okay. I do believe that Title IX is going to come down to a showdown between our governor and the schools. I would expect some lawsuits to happen on that. And
Yeah, I think.
so we need to be prepared, although it doesn't affect us per se here, but it will affect a lot of our schools in Kern County. And I don't have anything further. You're going to report on AB 84, is that correct, Dr. Mindeborough? All right, thank you.
Let me sharpen my pencil.
I wanted to update everyone on, in regards to AB 84. AB 84 was a resolution that we had sent up to the author. This board took action to oppose AB 84. AB 84 has changed from the original that we all looked at to what was in front of the governor now. We aren't sure if the governor will actually sign it at the end of the day because there was a 25 no votes from both parties. And this was extremely rare to see because usually they don't have any cross-party no's. So be interesting if the governor actually approves this. This is in regards to school accountability of charter schools. Before it was passed out of assembly, several key amendments were, and I'll send this to you so you don't have to take rapid notes. Abby wrote this down for me. She had to go to a school district to cover for another attorney who was out today, so that's why she's not here. One thing that they took out, several key amendments. One is that they reinstated the existing funding determination process for all charter school proposals for non-classroom based charters. They also reinstated the existing oversight fees that were removed from the proposal. They also deleted the requirement, and this is where a lot of charters were hung up, deleted the requirement for charter administrators and PPS providers to hold a credential. This amendment reverts to current law by deleting this requirement so they can bring in additional staffing as needed and then have to be credentialed.
But mostly they're credentialed anyway,
They're
correct?
mostly credentialed anyway, but in rare circumstances or depending on what they were, the program was or what they were providing services, they did not require a credential, and this would have limited their process immensely, so this was deleted. They also are managing the financial and compliance audits. They are expanding audit requirements to include charter schools and joint powers authorities. They're setting stricter deadlines and investigation procedures for late audits. They're imposing new qualifications and training requirements for auditors, enhancing audit content, and requiring auditors to consult with charter school authorizers prior to their audits. They're mandating authorizers to verify attendance data and finances, particularly for non-classroom-based charter schools. That's where throughout the state we're seeing the biggest issues, are the non-charter. That's why this whole thing came to be. Because those are charters that do not require students to be in a classroom setting.
Does that include homeschools?
Homeschools are non-classroom based, but they do come to school, so there is a quasi involvement there, but they're considered a non-classroom charter
Okay.
as well. Charter school accounting and governance funds, they're required to use the same financial reporting forms as school districts, which is a huge change because prior, as we've been going through, they are not, and so it's going to align. Impose new contract approval and procurement requirements for charters, and it revises their ADA reporting standards. That has been different. They are removing the exemption for charter schools for credential misassignment monitoring. They're requiring charter school teachers to hold appropriate credentials at this point in time. Independent study programs are going to apply to stricter rules on attendance to staff ratios and prohibited funding practices. They're prohibiting LEAs from offering discretionary parent funds for enrichment activities. Establishing new funding determination criteria based on in-person instructional time. Defines virtual charter schools as those providing less than 20% of in-person instruction. Requires the CDE and FCMET to both submit a report by January 1 of 2030 on integrating the state's CalPAD system with ADA apportionment systems to improve accuracy and transparency, which they have not been utilizing at this point. Establishing a new office within the California Department of Education appointed by the governor, and this person will conduct audits and investigation into fraud, abuse, and inefficiencies within LEAs and the CDE as it regards the charters. So they made some significant changes over time, and so we'll see where it goes, or if it will just not be signed and charter finances and accountability will stay as is.
Doesn't it go to the Senate?
It's going out to the Senate, yes.
Yes, so unless governor
Yeah.
signs it beforehand?
Yeah.
Correct, okay.
So this was an amendment to.
This was the amendment that was from the original.
at the committee level, did they do the amendment and then it went back to the assembly? Is that how that works?
This was all in discussion prior to their vote. So what
Okay.
was put out, then they started doing all their behind the doors chit-chatting, and then it went to vote. One, I believe, when we made contact to Marsucci's office, their response back was, I wish we had known about this. So your resolution did make an impact to them, because they were wishing they had known about this prior to, before you took your stance of opposition, because they're hoping that this new existing would appease everyone much more.
So they actually responded to us?
They emailed back.
I haven't had a
Yeah.
chance to look
That's
at it.
good.
We received an email back from the author saying, oh, we wish they had.
So
Are
do we-
those talking points?
We're going
that
to send
I
these to you.
can- Great, thank you.
And is Valley Oaks a non-classroom charter?
Yes, they're considered a non-classroom because they don't
Okay.
meet 5 days a week.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. And then I didn't catch if they're cutting funds. You said they're cutting funds from the state to these charters. Did it talk about that?
No,
Because I heard something about that.
no,
No?
they're not cutting
Okay.
funds from the state.
And the credential, what you were talking about earlier, about
Credential teachers?
requiring a credential, you mentioned it 2 places.
Under credential monitoring,
Okay,
they're removing the exemption for charter schools from credential misassignment monitoring.
okay.
And then they're now requiring, just like a regular public school, that charter school teachers hold the appropriate credential.
And how does that apply to vendors, for example? Like at Valley Oaks, if you have a vendor, you attend maybe a music class or a extracurricular,
They didn't have, there's nothing in here.
I think
at least
that's where
that
it's
was
going
pulled
to
out,
affect people.
Is the vendor component. They're really trying to hone in and align charters as the same as regular school district environment. Credentialing, that's where they're finding there's a lot of misapportionment out there throughout the state. Misassignments throughout the state. So, and charters are using we're a charter, so we don't have to have a credential person, and they're being held to the same academic standards. So they're also saying then they need to have the same credentialing standards. But what you're referring to is not called out, because those are usually above and beyond the core program.
So there'll be additional auditing requirements for charter schools then?
Yes, they are really cracking down. That's why a long time ago the state got out of the charter business, because they didn't want to deal with it. So they sent it back to all county offices, because every charter kind of could do their own accounting, and as they see fit, they just need to report to the county office their finances, but their documents are very different than a traditional school. And so it causes auditors a little more difficult of a challenge when they go in and audit their books, because they're funded differently.
Yeah.
But the state is trying to really mesh it as one
Yeah.
similar accounting.
Agreed, they are funded differently, but also the additional work that the schools are gonna have to do to come into compliance with the reporting
Yeah.
of this stuff is gonna, I mean, this could create a hardship. And I mean, it could actually create an environment of discouragement.
And it'll be interesting to see if charter schools are allowed to collect mandated costs. Mandated costs are dollars that are allocated to school districts to offset some of these requirements.
Okay.
Charters usually
What's
just
that
get
called?
a mandated cost. Charters usually just get a flat funding, and that's it. So they have to do everything within that funding mechanism. So we're gonna see, if this does pass, we'll see some things that are starting to morph even more so. But some of the things that were already there were removed, now are getting put back.
So our resolution actually made some headway. Do we need to amend that and resend it, or?
No, because we'll see what happens with this. But yeah, they, I can't remember exactly the language, but they responded back saying, oh, wish we had known about this prior to, because because they knew this was going to be changing somewhat. So
Okay.
they read it, and it made a difference up there for at least the author.
Good to
Well,
know.
Good to know.
That is good to know. I forgot to ask you as a separate question. I wanted to mention that the Trump administration announced that they pulled about $4 billion in federal funding for the high-speed rail project. Does that affect Valley Oaks in their move? Because I know they were moving only because of that.
No, they were moving for 2 reasons. One was, well, the high-speed train enhance their move, but there's a lot of outdated, there's a lot of things that they would have to, infrastructure to get the campus up, and safety. There's a lot of factors that they've been talking about with the office for quite some time, and then when they heard about the train, that's what this was like.
Okay.
Okay, we need out. So
Okay, so
either
they'll
way,
continue to move?
Yeah.
And they're moving fall of '26, is that correct?
Summer of '26. So
Summer
they'll
of
open the
26.
Fall of '26.
Okay, thank you.
So as the school starts getting the work done, you can take it out there to see it.
I sure wish we could keep at least a portion of that open for the egg part. I love the egg over
Yeah,
there.
will there be there won't be an ag farm at the new site?
No, there's nothing at the new site working with.
There will be an ag component, but it'll be structured off.
Yeah, it'll be structured off campus.
So
Is it with
we don't know
Colin?
where that'll be located yet?
Are we doing what Colin?
That's a possibility, yes.
Location of the Colin.
Okay, so that will still be available somewhat. That's good news. Oh, that's good news. I'm sure Julie loves that as well.
What a partnership with
And then once we know what
Bakersfield
happens with the whole high-speed rail, then we go from there. But yeah, but for the site itself, there's a lot of upgrades and stuff that are needed to. So that's a kind of a summary for AB 84. Is there any other questions or specifics that you would like us to look at? We'll see. I spoke with Carlos this afternoon, Carlos Rojas, and he said he wasn't sure, but he's never seen something like this get cross-party no's. Usually it's
Yeah.
very heavy, one's why the other. So that usually
Let's hear it for parents that are speaking up.
yeah, so they're hearing from a lot, and like I said, with the email we received back, they thanked, they were very, I think it made an impact.
Thank you. Anything
other
else,
tr-
Dr. Mandelbaum? Oh, sorry.
The other,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
the other charter schools under KCSOS are not non-classroom?
They're all classroom-based.
They're
They
all,
report
it's
every
just
day.
Valley Oaks.
Yeah, they report every day. Maricopa has a non-charter, non-classroom-based charter throughout the state. They have over 6,000 ADA.
Wow.
Or more now. Yeah, the whole district itself is about 200 students, but they have a charter that's over 6,000. It's made up of a conglomerate of others, and that's some of what this, not because of Maricopa, just
Yeah.
because of the basics of that. You have students who,
Did that high school close down?
no, it's still open.
Okay.
This is hard to prove attendance in a non-classroom-based charter. Valley Oaks is different. Why I say that is because they're required to attend school, come to the classroom for events and activities, so we can prove that there actually is a real student who is enrolled.
Oh, so
Whereas
there's
a
a
lot of
way
these
to do that.
non-class
Okay.
charters is just, you have a name, and that's about it, that you submit to the state, and then they fund them.
Right, right. So hopefully it won't affect Valley Oaks.
No, it won't affect, no. Valley Oaks is run very similar to a traditional public
Yes.
charter.
It's such a great charter.
Yeah, how
There's-
they do it, it's a very unique one. There's other
Mhm.
non-classroom-based charters that do not operate at all in that manner. When we describe Valley Oaks, they're like, well, that's a classroom-based. I was like, no, it's technically not, but we run it like that, and the auditors, everybody, it's the same.
That's good to
Held
know.
to the same standards as a traditional charter.
I was here when we said yes to Valley Oaks, and at that time, they wanted to send it to the state because it was so new. And I said, look, if we don't monitor it, the state will, so it's better if we do. And we were able to get that approved, and I was so thankful for that because it's such a great program.
Yeah, they just sent all the charters back to us anyway, so.
And they did, so it worked out wonderfully for the students here in Kern County. And we've been known statewide for that school, so it's been quite impressive.
The other update I wanted to provide is just, as of today, update with the budget. They have till June 15th to approve it. They will approve a budget because they don't get paid. So they'll approve something, and then the real work will start June 15th through July 1, where they'll start doing everything. So a couple of proposals that the legislature is proposing to the governor at this point in time is to withhold the $1.3 billion in Prop 98 funding. Remember, the governor was going to spend it, and they're saying to hold it with the intent to repay after the minimum guarantee is calculated, so that school districts are not spending it and hoping they get it. He's also, the legislature is also looking to reduce the June to July deferral. There was a time where they were gonna move the payment to school districts and to county offices of ed from June to the July by a few weeks. It balances their books and makes us without cash, but oh well. But they're looking at going from a 1.8 billion down to 846 million. Still a deferral, but not as significant if this passes. It modifies the proposed recalculation of the split between TK-12 and community college, and make the split more perspective. Right now, they were taking some dollars away from the junior college level. The big one is to reduce the proposed one-time discretionary block grant. That was going to be a $1.7 billion expenditure down to a $500 million. So we're not quite sure what that's going to do for districts, if that is the case. They are approving the proposed $200 million in literacy instruction, professional development. They are reducing the proposed this is not, they're not, but this is their proposal. Reducing the proposed literacy math coaches funding to only $100 million. They're also looking at increasing the new student teacher stipend program from $100 million to $600 million, and increase the Golden State Teacher Grant awards back up to the $20,000 per recipient, and restore the 4-year service and teacher shortage area requirements. That was a big sticking point for the legislature. They said if we're going to spend dollars to help increase student teachers and offset their time in the classroom, they're going to increase their stipend. That would allow us to utilize more. And remember, if this does pass, this office has been selected by the state to operate that, and for the entire state of California. So it would go from $100 million to $600 million if the legislative proposal approves. The governor has stated that he would back that if the legislature also backs it. So we'll see.
Interesting.
That's why John was happy with the budget, because right now nothing majorly has changed with all adoptions. If there's anything significant that changes the overall operation of a budget, then we are required to bring it back in August with a 45-day review. We'll see probably school districts having to do that more so than us, because there's a lot of budgets that we do not receive that, or lines that we don't receive that they will. So that's an update for you on the budget. For Jim, just to let you know, I could check with Kimberly, who was here this evening. We have the K-16 collaborative that does pathways, and I want to say, and don't quote me, but I think we have something in there in energy and next steps with all of that. So I'll find out exactly where we are with that and how that is to.
That'd be great. I'd appreciate that, Doctor.
And Bakersfield College has some programs as well.
Oh, I'm well aware of those.
Okay,
yeah.
just making sure. You said CSUB, so I thought, well.
Well, I was specific to petroleum engineering, land management, things like that. So some of the bigger ticket items.
Yeah, so I'll look to see. I'm not sure if it stayed in that K-16, but I know when it was first initially approved, there was an energy, an alternative energy and petroleum and all of that.
You would think the local industries would be very, very interested in making sure that, but I mean, it doesn't seem to be the case here in Kern County.
They've made the flip to the new alternative energy.
Yeah, but I've never really seen them being, and I could be wrong. I mean, I've only lived here for about 33 years, I guess, but it might have been more conducive to the local industries getting involved with education in that specific area. I just don't know. It just seems like they're not here. You know?
Yeah, Taft at one time, because they were very heavy in oil at one time. And I believe they still have a program where if students go on into that field, then they receive a 4-year college. You remember when we were out there? Something like that. They receive a 4-year ride if they're going into this industry that you're talking about.
And Taft High School, they had an incredible STEM department there.
So I'll check with her and let you know. And then I'll get that survey from Alt Ed and I'll email it out to you with all the categories or the people that were surveyed. So, and then thank you for attending the Alt Ed graduation. It was very meaningful, and the students and the public really appreciate seeing you there, and those students were very happy. That's Lori mentioned and everyone, so, and Julie. So that's it. Hopefully everyone gets some rest this summer.
Or does something fun. I do have one comment. If if the riots come up here, well, you know, and they get bad, are the schools on lockdown, you know? Do we have any contingency?
Fortunately, most of the schools are out for summer session. They do have summer school that's being operated. They do have lockdown plans and programs in place if there was such a need. We have not been told of anything or have heard of anything. We have some type of protest coming Saturday here in Kern County, but it's not supposed to be a huge one at scale. Typically, we don't get to the scale like we see
LA.
down south, but our schools they network and talk if there's any issues that would put them in that predicament.
Thank you. Anything further from the board? Okay, our next scheduled meeting is July 8th at 6:30. We'll see you then. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.